in 7 years, or we have something before?
Let's read this part.
Oh, okay.
Read for me.
From Trump to Johnson, nationalists are on their rise, backed by billionaire oligarchs.
What is
The
backed?
backed, actually, they are financial. They have the
They are
help for
supported.
yes, the
Yes,
support.
yes, perfect. Okay.
The ultra rich are benefiting from disaster capitalism as institutions, rules, and democracy oversight implode. Oversight,
Overs
oversee, oversee,
oversight. You
oversight.
have you have the verb to oversee, which means to monitor, and oversight is the noun. Like, for example, let me just close my window. My dog is barking. So you can say, like, for example, um, I oversee the production line in the company, or
Okay.
I oversee the marketing department. This is a good verb. That's true. They're benefiting from disaster capitalism as institutions, rules, and democratic oversight implode. In other words, people are not overseeing the government. We are letting them do what they want. So,
Oh,
who is benefiting from that? The ultra rich. Okay, look at this picture. Classic, huh? Uh, I have you have no idea how much I despise these men, especially Bolsonaro.
yeah, I think
He makes
Bolsonaro is
my
the worst.
stomach. He is, because at least Trump is funny, but Bolsonaro, he's disgusting, disgusting.
Yes.
Okay, read for me.
7 years ago, the impressionist Rory Bremer complained that politicians had become so boring that few of them were worth mimicking. They are quite homogeneous and do these days. It's as if character is seen as a liability. Today, his profession was the opposite problem. However extreme satires become, it struggles to keep pace with reality. The political
Spear.
spear, so dull and grey a few years ago, is now populated by preposterous exhibitionism.
Preposterous. Preposterous.
Preposterous. Preposterous.
Preposterous. Beautiful word, huh? Preposterous means very absurd. Muito absurdo. É cúmulo do absurdo. So 7 years ago, impressionist. Impressionist is someone who does impressions, someone who imitates others,
Yes.
like a comedian. He complained that politicians had become so boring that few of them were worth mimicking. They're quite homogeneous and dull. These days. It's as if character is seen as a liability. Liability is a risk. Okay. Today, the profession has the opposite problem. However extreme satire becomes, it struggles to keep pace with reality. The political sphere, so dull and gray, a few years ago, is now populated by preposterous exhibitionists.
Yes.
Totally true. I mean, like in the past, they were boring. Today, my God, they are comedians that they
They are
are so
comedians in
successful.
power.
Yes, and they are comedians. There are comedians that have made so much success just imitating Trump and Bolsonaro. You know. Okay.
This trend is not confined to the UK. Everywhere, the killer clowns are taking over. This trend is not confined to the killer clown are taking over. Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, Donald Trump, Narendra Modi, Jair Bolsonaro, Scott Morrison, Rodrigo Duterte, Matteo Salvini, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Viktor Orban, and a host of other ludicrous strongmen or weakmen, as they so often turn out to be, dominate nations that would on once have laughed them off stage. The question is why? Why are the technocrats who held
Sway. Mm-hmm.
sway almost everywhere a few years ago giving way to extravagant buffons.
Buffoons. I like this word, a
Buffons.
buffoon. A buffoon is like a clown. So this is a
Mm.
good question. Good expression. Everywhere the killer clowns are taking over. No problem with take over.
Yes, they are dominating. They are taking.
Hmm. It's also business term like
Yes,
yes. Um, Nigel Farage, Donald Trump, Narendra Modi, Jair Bolsonaro, Scott Morrison, Rodrigo Duterte, Matteo Salvini, Erdogan, Viktor Orban, and a host of other ludicrous. Ludicrous is
ludicrous,
insane,
insane. Okay,
crazy, strongmen or weak men. They so often turn out to be dominate nations that would have laughed them off stage. The question is why? Why are the technocrats like Obama was a technocrat, wasn't he? He was a technical leader.
yes.
Fernando Henrique was a technical leader. Even Dilma, she was sold as a technical leader. So why are the others in Britain? You had, what's her name, Theresa May. You have Angela Merkel. You know, they were all technocrats. So why the technocrats who held sway a gigante, descontrolam o gigante, who held sway almost everywhere, are giving way to extravagant buffoons, clowns? What is your opinion before we move on?
I think for a lot of reasons. We used to put people that we thought they have some kind of wisdom on power, and we got disappointed with them with some decisions. Like even if Obama was like a good president, he did good things. We also are in an era where people don't like to study, or always like to have quick information. We become a little more dumb. I think we're not like going to going after the things that are important. We always want something right now, and say have someone in power or trying to get in power that say something obvious or something that we thought that we could not do in public is something that is getting it to people. People are liking are liking this kind of person that speaks their mind and these things that absurd. How can I say absurd? I don't remember.
Absurd or
Yeah, absurd.
preposterous?
Yes,
I agree.
I think it's because of that that we are starting putting this kind of leaders on power,
Good point.
electing
Good point.
president.
I agree with you. The article gives a really good argument that I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but in my opinion, I think just talking about Karl Marx, he wrote a really good book. I forgot the book's name, Bonaparte, something. And he said something really interesting. He says the first time something happens, it's tragedy. The second time, it's a farce. A primeira vez é uma tragédia, a segunda é uma farce. Like World War II, it was pretty tragic, you know.
Yes.
And when we elected Bolsonaro, in my opinion, not just Bolsonaro but Trump, it's a farce. Because if you look at there was a really good propaganda piece in World War II made by the US government to convince people that it was good for the United States to get into the war of Second World War. And it was kind of something like this. There was a guy, two guys sitting and talking, and there was a politician yelling many racist things like, they are taking our jobs, you know, down with black people, down with down with the Jews, and the guy was like, yeah, fuck them, they're screwing us. Down with the Freemasons, was Masons, and he said, what? He said my name. What did I do? And the guy sitting next to him was like, oh, so when he mentioned the Freemasons, it touched your nerve, huh? And he said, that's the point of these people. They start attacking all the minorities to find one that you agree with. Yes, these
Yes,
people are taking your jobs. And I think that's why we're living a farce. That's what Bolsonaro did. Because basically the world is shit. It's not because of feminists. It's not because of black people. It's not because of gay people. But things are shitty for everyone. And what
yes,
are they doing? They're finding a scapegoat. We are the
yes,
scapegoat.
exactly. They're finding a easy way.
Hmm.
Social,
Okay,
social,
continue.
social media, an incubator of absurd, is certainly part of the story. But while there was being plenty of good work investigating the means, there was being surprisingly little thing about the ends. Why are the ultra rich who until recently used their money and newspaper to promote charisma free politicians now funding these circles? Why would capital wish to be represented by middlemeners one moment and jesters the next? Jester.
Jester is somebody who doesn't like to work,
Oh, okay.
which is Trump used to spend 8 hours a day watching television while he was president.
Oh my God. He, and I don't know how old Trump is, but he's not young, right? And
He's
he seems,
almost 80. I think
yeah.
he's about to be 80 this year.
Bolsonaro was a politician. Trump was not a politician before
Yes.
becoming president. I think he was used to like a retired life, a rich man that did
Hmm.
not do much, and he only continued that in the power.
Hmm. And it's funny because he was very lazy.
Yes,
Just like Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro was, I remember a meme that I was sharing. There were so many, how can I say, disasters that happened in Brazil when he was president, and he was going to Guarujá, I don't know, the place that rich people go, and on his jet ski,
yes,
enjoying time. And I remember there was a funny meme like Bolsonaro in it's like four pictures of Bolsonaro, having fun in his jet ski, like vacation. Then primeiro dia de trabalho, then he was sick. Remember, he got sick in the hospital. Primeiro dia útil do ano. So, and this is another good question, because these people, they get elected not because we choose them. There is a group of rich people who choose who's
yes,
going to be your president. That's always how it worked. There were Lula only won because he had business people, he had money, people to fund him. So the
yes.
question is, why did the ultra rich promote the circus?
Because I think now they can see that it's more easy to do the things that they want to do, decide the future of the country. If no one's watching, if everyone is too busy uh,
Exactly.
clapping a
Exactly.
clown.
Yes, this is what the article says. What the killer clowns do, they give distraction,
Yes,
because they're on the stage and you're listening to those really absurd and stupid things, and they're doing everything they need. They're taking more power, more assets, more money, while we're distracted with the shit that they
exactly.
say. Perfect. That's what the article said. Okay, continue.
The reason I believe is that nature of capitalism has changed. The dominant force in the 90s and early 2000s, corporate power demanded technocrat government. It wanted people who could simultaneously run a competent, secure state and protect profiles from democracy change. In 2020, when Bremer made his complaint, power was already shifting to a different place, but politics had not caught up.
To catch up, good expression. Não alcançou, né?
Yeah.
Não. Good point. So this is another good point. It was corporate power. We people got rich because they made innovations like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Today, power is more. It's based more on speculation. That's how you make money today. You speculate much more. Okay, continue.
The policies that were supposed to promote policies that I pronounce
Policies. Hmm.
the policies that were supposed to promote enterprise, slashing taxes for the rich, ripping down public protections, destroying trade unions, instead stimulated a powerful spiral of patrimonial health accumulation. The largest fortunes are now made not to entrepreneurial brilliance, but to inheritance, monopoly, and rent seeking, securing
Hmm.
securing exclusive control of crucial assets such as land and buildings, privatizing utilities and intellectual property, and assembly service monopolies such as trend hubs, software, and social media platforms, then charging user fees far higher than the cuts of production and delivery. In Russia, people who enrich themselves this way are called oligarchs, but this is a global phenomenon. Today, corporate power is overlain by and mutating into oligarch power.
Overlaying. I love this expression,
Overlaying.
overlay. Overlay é tipo sobrepor. So corporate power is overlaying and mutating into oligarchic power. Good point. The policies that were supposed to promote enterprise, and this is something that Trump said, he would slash taxes for the rich because then they would have money to invest and create jobs for people. Total bullshit. If you're going to slash taxes for the rich, you're just going to keep that money. They're not going to
Yes,
increase their worker salary. That's not how capitalism works. Ripping down public protections, destroying trade unions. Instead, trade unions are totally dominated today by, ai, como é que é o nome daquilo in Portuguese? It's I forgot the name, but you have the unions, yes, they're not the way that they should be today. Instead, stimulated a powerful spiral of patrimonial wealth accumulation. The largest fortunes are now made not through entrepreneurial brilliance, but through inheritance, monopoly, and rent seeking. You see this even in social media. I mean, take Facebook. Facebook has many problems, and they're causing. Uh, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. They have many problems, and problems that they're not going to fix because they are so powerful and big that they have the monopoly. I was reading another article about mothers, about child influencers, and how these children um, are being fed, or better yet, are being fed to, or are being consumed by pedophiles. It's an Instagram, gets profiles of little girls that are
yes,
influencers and shares it with pedophiles. And they're not going to fix this problem because they're making money. Why would they?
yes,
Land and building, and securing exclusive control of crucial assets such as land and buildings, privatized utilities, and intellectual power, and assembling service monopolies such as trading hubs, software, and social media platforms. Then charging user fees far higher than the costs of production and delivery. In Russia, people who enrich themselves this way are called oligarchs. Yes. Okay.
what the oligarchs want is not the same as what the old corporations wanted. In the words of their favorite theorist Stephen Bannon, they seek the construction of the administrative state. Chaos is the chaos. How can I say chaos?
Chaos.
Chaos, yes. Chaos, the proof multiplier for the disaster capitalism on which the new billionaires thrive. Every rupture is used to save more of the assets on which our lives depend. The chaos of un, undelivered Brexit, the repaired meltdowns and shutdowns of government under Trump, these are the kind of the These are the kind of the construct the con
Deconstructions.
the constructions Bannon foresaw. As institutions, rules, and democracy oversee implode, the oligarchs extend their health and power at our expense.
Perfect, perfect. So what the oligarchs want is not the same as the old corporations wanted. In the words of their favorite theorist, Steve Bannon, please, there is a video that he says that if you want to look for it. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know who Steve Bannon is.
No,
Do
I
you
don't
know
know
him?
who is. No.
Steve Bannon, he is I don't know if you watch Star Wars. Did you watch Star Wars?
I watch some movies, but I don't know the entire story. I always sleep. I know what is Star Wars,
There
but
is
I
one
don't.
villain. There is one villain in
Yes,
all the movies, which is the Emperor or Senator Palpatine. You know, he is the one villain. He is Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is Senator Palpatine. This man, he was Trump's one of Trump's top advisors and campaign manager. He was the one who helped elect Trump. He also worked in, I think it was, what's his name? The other one, the killer clown in the UK. What is his name? Loyola. Come on, help
yes,
me. Oh,
I know who
Johnson.
is, but I don't know his name.
Johnson. So he worked on Johnson's campaign. He helped elect Johnson, and he's the one who did he's the one who helped articulate Theresa May's fall because she was I don't know the term, pichada, kind of like impeached. He's the one who did the articulation to get her out of power. He also worked with Viktor Orban and Erdogan from Hungary. And Steve Bannon, he created a wave. It's called the Wave. It's funny because I remember that movie from the 1980s, I think, called The Wave, in a reference to World War II. So he created a reactionist wave. He wants to unite all the right in all the world. And his representative in Brazil is Bananinha. Eduardo Bananinha, o
I don't
Bolsonaro.
know who is Eduardo Bananinha.
Eduardo
Ah, the son.
Bolsonaro.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
Bananinha. I didn't know the.
So Bananinha is his representative of this reactionary wave, because it's not a conservative wave, it's a reactionary wave. It's much different. They want to go back in time, you know. And his representative in Brazil is Eduardo Bonini. I don't know if he still is. I don't know. And Steve Bannon, he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was also pardoned by Trump because he committed many crimes, white collar crimes.
Yes.
And so, anyways, take a look. Type Steve Bannon. He created a news media called Breitbart, where he would post fake news and fake stories. And there is this, he gave a speech, how can I say, he gave like, a speech to a lot of billionaires. And he said that, what does he want? He wants to create chaos because he wants to deconstruct the administrative state. He said that. And that's what Bolsonaro wanted to do. That's the theory behind everything. To undermine, I love this word, undermine. Undermine é tirar o valor.
Yes.
Undermine democratic institutions. That's how you destroy democracy.
But destroying democracy in this way can be also like not good for them because can go wrong. I don't know. They can destruct the democracy, but maybe they cannot stay in the power or things cannot go in the way they think. Can go both ways.
Maybe. Yes. Everything that's radical can swing both ways. But his plan, and especially Trump, we read together the crimes he committed. He wanted to become a dictator. That's what Bolsonaro wanted here too. install a dictatorship. That's what Putin is doing in Russia, with Erdogan, Narendra Modi. They're all dictators, you know. So please read about Steve Bannon. It's this man is Senator Palpatine. He is the emperor villain, the huge villain of our time. So they seek the deconstructive of the administrative state. Chaos is the profit multiplier for disaster capitalism, in which the new billionaires thrive. Thrive means to be very successful.
Yes.
Every rupture is used to seize, to appropriate of more assets which our lives depend on. We cannot let's talk about Elon Musk, the power that this man has.
Yes.
It's scary. There's going to get to a point that we're going to need him. We already need Zuckerberg. We need Facebook. We need WhatsApp. We need Instagram. We need LinkedIn to survive. You know, the chaos of an undeliverable Brexit, the repeated meltdowns and shutdowns of government under Trump. Trump was very famous for his shutdowns. So this is a power that I don't know if the president in Brazil has this power. Trump, he can shut down the government, shut down all operations. So the government, they stop paying people who work for the government. And chaos. Trump did that once because he wanted to build his wall, of Mexico. And he promised that Mexico was going to pay for the wall.
Of course.
But Mexico didn't pay. He needed money to pay for the wall. So he wanted, I think, 8 billion or something from Congress. So Congress would give him the money. And the Speaker of the House was Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat. And they were the majority in Congress. And he wanted the wall, and he said, I just want 8 billion. That's it. I just want 8 billion. Nancy Pelosi said, no. So he said, fine, I'm going to shut down the government. And he shut down the government for about 20 days or something. So he would get money for his wall. Anyways, good expression.
This kind of action that the president of the United States can do, there is no way that they can not be impeached but be stopped. Government can stop them to do that. I don't know, because it's not a good reason to stop to do a shutdown because you did not receive the money. If it was like an emergency or something else going on, a war, I don't know.
But that was his argument, that there were so many illegal immigrants passing through the border that the wall was an emergency and they had to build it ASAP. So he can do that, but he needs a pretext of an emergency. And that's the pretext he used, which was total bullshit. Okay, let's continue.
The killer clowns offered the oligarchs something else too: distraction and deflection. While the kleptocrats fleece us, we are urged to look elsewhere. We are how can I say that? Mesmerized by buffoons who encourage us to channel the anger that should be reserved for billionaires towards immigrants, women, Jews, Muslims, people of color, and the other imaginary enemies and customary scapegoats. Just as it was in 1930, they knew demagogy is uncommon. A revolt against the impact of capital financed by capitalists.
Perfect. I love this writer. Perfect paragraph. So the killer, that's what you said. They offer the oligarchs something else: distraction and deflection. Yeah. I love this expression. While the kleptocrats, qual é esse termo, né? De kleptomaníaco.
Yes.
Fleece arrancar nosso couro. While the kleptocrats fleece us because that's what they're doing. We were,
Yes,
our generation. I don't know if we talked about this. If it was you who I talked about this to. My mother, when she was 26, 28, something like that, she bought an apartment in São Paulo alone, a 3-bedroom apartment in one of the best neighborhoods in São Paulo.
yeah.
Can you do it
No,
today?
no, no,
No,
I can do
no way. So we are poor. We're much
yes,
poorer than our parents, and we are more. We have more degrees. We study more. We're more, And I cannot buy an apartment. I can barely pay rent.
yes,
So the kleptocrats, they are fleecing us. We are urged to look elsewhere. We are mesmerized. We are mesmerized as a gente não acredita no que a gente está vendo. We can't believe what we're seeing. By buffoons who encourage us to channel the anger that should be reserved for the billionaires towards immigrants, women, Jews, Muslims, people of color, and other imaginary enemies and customary scapegoats. Just as in the 1930s, the new demagoguery is a con, é golpe. A revolt against the impacts of capital financed by capitalists. Perfect paragraph.
yeah. But in the same way that I think in the same way that we are like paying attention to this kind of things that Trump and Bolsonaro does, in the same way, you don't think like they are also being fooled? Because I don't know, I think Trump's such a idiot. I don't think they are like they have a plan. I think said Trump is just like he really believes in the things that he said.
Yes, and Trump. I think the point is, and this is, I think, one of the reasons I could not be a politician ever, because a politician is a puppet for
Yes,
someone pulling the
that's
strings.
exactly.
So if anything goes wrong, Trump is going to prison.
Yes, exactly.
Not the billionaires who are financing him, who are profiting from all his policies. He's going to prison. Just the same thing about Bolsonaro. É o dele que tá na reta.
Exactly.
So, and I think that's another reason to choose these men who are so stupid, who they don't realize how much risk that they're how much danger they're putting
Yes,
themselves. Okay, continue.
the oligarchs' interests always lie offshore, in taxes havens and secret regimes. Paradoxically, these interests are best promoted by nationalists and nativists. The politicians who most loudly proclaim their patriotism and defense of sover- sov- sov-
Sovereignty.
sovereignty are always the first to sell their nations down the river. It is not
Mhm.
coincidence that the most of the newspaper promoting the nativist agenda, whipping up weighted against immigrations and thundering about how can I say again self
Sovereignty.
sovereignty, are owned by billionaires, tax
Exiles.
exiles living offshore.
Good point. These people, they don't even live in their country. They're living
Yes,
offshore, you know. Steve Bannon, if I'm not mistaken, he had like a place in, I'm not going to remember where. I'm going to say something wrong, but that's another good point. The oligarchs' interests are always offshore. Where do they put their money? Tax havens. And
yes.
give me an example of a tax haven. You must know better than me. Paraíso fiscal.
I don't know how a place that is paraíso fiscal, but I think Suíça used to be a paraíso fiscal, no?
Yes, Switzerland.
Panama is a paraíso
Yeah,
fiscal.
good. And it's also a secrecy regime. É secreto também. You cannot, it's not a transparent government. I
Yes,
remember the Panama Papers. Remember that scandal?
No, I don't remember.
Oh my
Just
God! I think that eu achei que foi por isso que você falou. Please read about the Panama Papers. It's a huge scandal about, about this that you said. Panama is a perfect place for you to hide your money, and there were people in the list like the royals, from England. They had money hidden
oh,
there. Soccer players. Take a look. The Panama
I
Papers.
I will see about that.
Panama Papers. It was a huge scandal. I think there's even the Panama Papers. What 11.5 million leaked documents that were published in 2016 about information with more than 214,000 offshore entities. Read about it. I'm going to find a good article of the Panama Papers, and we can read it together.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Um, so, paradoxically, these interests are best promoted by nationalists and nativists. The politicians who most loudly proclaim their patriotism and defense of sovereignty are always the first ones to sell their nations down the river. Bolsonaro selling the Amazon to the United
Yes,
States. It's no coincidence that most of these newspapers promoting the nativist agenda, whipping up hatred, whip it, tipo, usar chicote, tipo, come on, let's hate the immigrants, and thundering about sovereignty, are owned by billionaire tax exiles living offshore. It's funny.
sovereignty is soberania.
Yes,
Sovereignty,
sovereignty. Sovereignty. Let me
sovereignty,
write that. It's a tricky word
sovereignty.
to spell.
Yes, sovereignty,
Sovereignty. And
sovereignty.
sovereign é soberano. E soberania, sovereignty, soberania. Okay, continue.
As economic life has been offshored, so was political life. The political rules that are supposed to prevent foreign money from funding domestic politics have collapsed. The main beneficiaries are the self-proclaimed defenders of sovereignty who rise to power with the help of social media ads bought by persons unknown and tanks and lobbyists that refuse to reveal their founders. A recent
Mhm.
essay by the academics Roger Hendricks and Rodrigo Fernandes argues that offshore financials involves the rampant unbundling and commercialization of state sovereignty, and the shifting of power into a secretive, extraterritorial legal space behind the country of any state. In this offshore world, the content, financialists and
Hyper.
hyperbole, hypermobile global capital effectively, effectively is the state.
Good. Good. So, as economic life has been offshored, so has political life. The political rules that are supposed to prevent foreign money from funding domestic politics have collapsed. The main beneficiaries are the self-proclaimed defenders of sovereignty who rise to power with the help of social media ads bought by persons unknown. Oh my God. Think about it. I remember during the last election that Lula won, 2020. Né? 2020. Yes. No, 2022. So I was on Facebook and Instagram, and I would see the comments in the comment section, like who was criticizing, who was,
Yeah.
Bolsonaro, who was in favor of Bolsonaro. And many of them I found, and I went to their profile. They were all from Russia.
Yes, fake profiles.
From Russia, you know. There was also the scandal. There was a whole investigation. There was the Mueller report in the United States when Trump was impeached about how Russian bots were influencing their election. And they got very pissed off, which is kind of ironic because they always interfered in other countries' elections. But anyways, So the main beneficiaries of self-proclaimed defenders of sovereignty who rise to power with the help of bought by persons unknown, and think tanks and lobbyists that refuse to reveal their funders. A
Think
recent
tank.
essay by
What
what is
is
a
think
think
tank?
tank?
Think tank.
Uh, think tanks, they came about after World War II, where they groups of intellectuals and companies that would fund research for to improve mankind. And in the beginning it was good, but to date it has only become, because they have been lobbied by billionaires. So you can pay a think tank to promote what you want them, what you want, some policies that you want. It's a good expression, a think tank. I don't think there are any think tanks that have autonomy anymore, because today they're being very lobbied by billionaires. Like there was this whole scandal about sugar, and I think in the year 2000s, there were think tanks that were promoting research, bogus research, fake research, saying that sugar wasn't bad for you, that sugar didn't cause obesity, and anyways, all bullshit. Or there was another one that promoted that what is the name? Lead, chumbo, was safe to be consumed. And today we know, and so there were many toys that were
Hmm.
made from lead for children, and it was another scandal promoted by think tanks. But in their conception, when they started, they were actually doing something good for humanity. Today, I think they're only financed by billionaires. A rampant unbundling. This is a good term. This is a term for you. The item. So let me put it in the chat here. Take a look. Take a look.
I can't see the your.
The chat. Take a look at your chat.
Oh,
Eu mandei
okay.
no chat.
The banks may be forced to unbuild. I need to reading out loud or just
You too. So it's a
okay.
market or charge
Charge
for
for
items or
items or
services
service for
separately
then
rather
as
than
part.
as part of a package. Quando você cobra separado.
Oh,
When you break something, você quebra uma coisa para cobrar separado. Banks may be forced to unbundle costs and charge extra for each check processed. I
okay.
think it's a term from your field of importação, né? Import export.
Yes, I don't take care. I don't take care of this part, but yes, is
I think
related to
I wrote it down. I think it's a good term for you to use, to unbundle costs or
unbound.
unbundle prices. The rampant unbundling and commercialization of the state sovereignty, good one, and shifting of power into a secretive extraterritorial legal space beyond the control of any state. Okay, let's continue a little bit more. Já tá acabando. We're almost done.
Today's billionaires are the real citizens of nowhere.
Mhm.
They fantasies like the plutocrats in Ayn Rand's terrible novels Atlas Shuggled about
Shrugged.
further escape. Look at the sustained venture founded by PayPal founder Peter Thiel that sought to build artificial island in the middle of the ocean, whose citizens could enact of liberties fantasy of escape from the state, its laws, regulations and taxes, and from organization labor. Scarcely a month goes by without a billionaire raising the prospect of leaving the earth altogether and colonizing space pods or other planets.
Yes, I want to get rid of these poor people. Tá louco esse povo pobre. Let's get away from them. And that's true. The billionaires are real citizens of nowhere. They
Yes,
fantasize like the plutocrats about further escape. Look at the seasteading venture funded by PayPal's founder, Peter Thiel. And we had other examples since that time. We had other, I think it was, what's his name? Jeff Bezos was talking about colonizing space and going to space.
Yeah.
Elon Musk talks about that. And they have, so this guy Peter Thiel, he had this fantasy of creating an island where you don't have a state, where they make the rules, you know. Bunch of
But
bullshit.
this not happen, right? It's just like
No, it didn't, because I don't know. I don't know, what is your opinion about Elon Musk?
I don't have like an opinion. For me, he's just a rich man that does what he wants. Like I know that he's like doing this kind of things to trying to get Mars, building the I don't how can I say for I forget his
Rockets.
space his rocket. This I know that it's for his own benefit. It's not like when he achieves all that he wants, he will he will think on the society like is for his future, not for our future.
Hmm. I have I agree with you, and I also think there I have to admit there's some of the things he's doing is amazing, like his what do you call that, his internet, I forgot the name, his internet service, Elon Musk, what is the name, Starlink. But it's scary, because it's a lot of power in one person's hands.
Yeah,
So, but I also think that I would include Elon Musk in this equation. They say a lot of shit, but they're not thinking properly, like about the impacts, some a generation forward, or I don't think they think. I think they're very egomaniac and megalomaniac. They're not thinking properly.
yes.
Like creating an island where they can do what they want, or going to Mars, or you know.
But I
Anyways.
think, but I think if they like they expose these things that they tell everyone that they're going to do that, so we have the means to stop because
Hmm.
they have a lot of money that they can do this on secrets, like they can go to Mars when it become possible without telling anyone because they really have the
Hmm.
money to do this kind of operation, but they didn't do that. They don't do that. They always like public what is the next step. So I think if we can stop, we have the means to stop. We don't stop for some reasons, but I think something manageable. I don't know.
Hmm.
I can be wrong, but
Yes, but maybe because they are so egomaniac, they're not afraid
yes,
of hiding what they're doing. It's a good point. Okay, continue.
those who identify as offshore seek only to travel farther offshore. To them, the national state is both facilitate and encumbrance, source of health and impose of taxes, pool, pool of cheap labor and searing mass of ungrateful plebs, from whom they must flee, leaving the reject earthlings to their deserved fate.
Wretched. Wretched. I love this word, wretched. So those whose identity is offshore seek only to travel farther offshore. To them, the nation state is both a facilitator and encumbrance. Encumbrance,
Yeah,
que coloca fardo, that puts a source of wealth, an imposer of tax, pool of cheap labor, and a seething cheio, rico, of mass of ungrateful plebs, né? Esses plebeus ingratos, né? From whom they must flee,
please.
flee é fugir. They must flee from them, leaving the wretched earthlings to their well-deserved fate. Wretched, I love this word. Whenever I think of this term, have you read Frankenstein?
No.
Read it. It's amazing. Mary Shelley, the first science fiction book ever written by a woman. It's amazing. It was written in the Romantic era. And this is something I love about English literature. Our literature in Portuguese and the Romantic time only talks about, man and woman. This now talks about things that are much deeper, much more
Yes.
profound. The goth genre came from this time. So in Frankenstein, the monster created by Frankenstein was a wretch. What is a wretch? Something that nobody can love. Love this word. So leaving the wretched earthlings to their well-deserved fate. Okay, continue.
Defending ourselves from oligarchy means taxing to oblivion. It's easy to get
Mhm.
hooked up on discussions about what tax level maximize the generation of revenue. These are endless arguments about the Laffer curve, which purpose to show where these levels lies. But these discussions overlook something crucial. Raising revenue is only one of the purposes of taxes. Another is breaking the spiral of patrimonial wealth accumulation.
Good. So defending ourselves from oligarchy means taxing into oblivion. Oblivion means non-existence. Né? Ou seja, taxar até não existe mais. I agree. I totally agree with that. I don't think there should be billionaires. There should not be
Yes,
trillionaires. We should tax them until there are no more billionaires. And you don't need $1 trillion. What the hell are you going to do with this money? You don't need it. So it's easy to get hooked up on discussions about what tax level maximizes a generation of revenue. There are endless arguments about the Laffer curve, which purports to show where this level lies, but the discussions overlook, deixa passar, overlook é tipo negligenciar,
mhm,
overlook something crucial. Raising revenue is just one of the purposes of tax. Another is breaking the spiral of patrimonial wealth accumulation. Totally agree. Tax the rich. For the love of God, we need to do
yes.
that. And I give this article for some students to read, and they're like, no, we cannot tax them because they're going to leave the country and they're going to take their money away. Sure. Yes, they're going to do that. Okay, continue.
Breaking the spiral is democracy necessary. Otherwise, the oligarchs, as we haven't seen, come to dominate national and international life. The spiral does not stop by itself. Only government action can do it. This is one of the reasons why, during the 1940s, the top rate of income taxes in the US rose to 94% and in in UK to 98%. A fair society requires periodic connections on this scale, but those days the steepest taxes would be better aimed at accumulated unearned wealth.
Unearned. Que não fez por
Unearned.
merecer.
Yes.
Come on. There are so many people who are rich that they did nothing.
Yes.
Absolutely nothing. We have to tax these people. So breaking the spiral is a democratic necessity. Otherwise, the oligarchs come to dominate national and international life. The spiral does not stop by itself. Only government action can do it. This is one of the reasons why during the 1940s, look at how interesting, the top rate of income tax in the US rose to 94% and in the UK to 98%. A fair society requires periodic corrections on the scale, but these days the steepest, the highest taxes would be better aimed at accumulated unearned wealth. Okay, last paragraph.
Of course, the offshore world the billionaires have created make such bold policies extremely difficult. This, after all, is one of its purpose. But at least we know what we aim to be and can begin to see the scale of the challenge. To fight something, first we need to understand it.
Perfect, perfect. Bold, a good word. Bold, ousado.
Yes.
The bold policy make such bold policies extremely difficult. No, and it's funny because I don't know if you followed the elections for president. In the last elections, we had Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, who were proposing a tax on a tax on wealth, tipo imposto sobre fortuna, not over money, because nobody taxes wealth, you know. And people were calling them socialists. No, this is communism. This is and it's not. This is something that Roosevelt did during the New Deal era. You know, after the crash. It's not bold. It's not. It's. How can I say? It's something we have to do.
Yes.
You know, to fix democracy. And but today it seemed like if you mention a tax on the wealth, communist. You know. So, what did you think? Good article, huh?
Yes, I like it. If you can send me the link so I
I
can check
will, I
again.
will. So you can read it once more. And I'm going to send you some words that I wrote down, really good expressions. Okay, I have to go. I have to eat something before my next
Okay.
class. Can we talk next week?
Yes, we can talk next week.
Perfect, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. See you next
Thank
week.
you. Bye bye. Have a nice
Bye
weekend.
bye. You too.